Thank you for the introduction. As mentioned, my title is Head of Cloud Experience, but don't worry, I'll not talk that much about cloud today. I have to talk about it a little bit, but it's not going to be the whole talk. As mentioned, I'm Kek. My real name is Kristian, but Kristian is a popular name in Denmark, so we have 4 Kristians at HQ, so we had to find new names for each of us. Mine was Kek, because that's also my email, kek@umbraco.dk. I have worked with Umbraco since the 2nd of January 2018, where I started as a developer. That means in 3 months, I've been there 5 years, 2 months, I've been here 5 years. I'm finally going to get my golden watch. So I'm looking very much forward to this, and a handshake from Kim as well, which is priceless. So really looking forward to that. Yes, last talk of the day, in Danish, the raisin in the sausage end. I've never done a talk for a community-driven event like this. Have been on Umbraco Coffee twice. Haven't been given a cup yet though, but okay. Thank you. Okay. That's okay. So when I submitted this talk, we knew there was this event going on. We wrote Callum and said, Callum, are you interested in having a talk from Umbraco HQ about what's going on? And he said, yes, just try to make it less corporate. Less fine. And that was fine. So because of that, I decided to leave my suit at home for this time. And then I came here dressed as the mediocre developer I used to be. All right. Yes, we've had a very, very, very busy year at Umbraco HQ, together with you. We had I know we say this every year, but this year truly was the greatest code garden that we've ever had. It's bigger than we've ever had. We have more MVPs than we've ever had before. We did 29 CMS releases, and as far as I remember correctly, we're not even done this year. I believe we have a major coming up very soon. So that adds to 30 for this year, maybe more. We've had 60 releases to forms and deploy as well. So with that all taken in, you can imagine that we are very busy. And when you're very busy, it's easy to lose focus. So our job now in Umbraco HQ is to keep up the focus and make sure that we focus on the right things. And what are the right things for us? One is the market. Sorry, I have to be a little corporate because that's why I'm here. We have to focus on the market. It's no secret we are trying to move Umbraco up the market a little bit into the DXP sphere. We have pushed Heartcore up the market as well, our headless cloud offering. So we're going to focus on the market. We're also going to focus on what's important for us at Umbraco HQ. But even more importantly, we need to stay focused on what's important for you as well. Last year we got bored, and I know that us getting bored added a lot of concern in the community. Trust me, it added a lot of concern with us employees as well. Luckily, it wasn't a maniac with a $10 gazillion that bought us and fired us overnight. But it always, ripples out, and you get concerned. I can stand here and say that the amount of changes I have experienced with that purchase of Umbraco has changed close to zero for me and my everyday. The people most heard about this is Kim and Paul and the C group because they have to do monthly reporting to them. And so that's it. So I can assure you the same, that this purchase is not going to change anything for the community because we know where Umbraco started, we know where it came from, we know what it is, and we're not going to change that in the future. And if you have been to the HQ, we moved to a big HQ because we grew bigger. You might have seen that we have given our meeting rooms some funky names. Bordelaise, Hollandaise, and Bernaise. And that's actually a tribute to what we are. Umbraco CMS is. It's open source. And we truly mean that, and that is not going to change no matter what. We came from open source, we are open source, and we will continue to be open source. That being said, we are maturing Umbraco. We are maturing our products, we are maturing our services, and we are maturing our organization. As I said, we're trying to move Umbraco up the market. If we want to do that, we have to mature our product to be eligible up the market. So that's what we're doing. We are maturing our services. We are looking into establishing 24/7, 365 support, also for you, so that you can reach out with our great support team any time of the day, any time of the world, wherever you are and what year it is. The organization maturing, we've opened up an office in the US. I think we are headcount there of 15 people, something like that. We have an official office in UK, in the Netherlands, and in Denmark, of course. So that's also maturing. And maturing a company that's based on open source is it is a fun thing, maybe a little bit paradoxical, but we're trying to do it in a good way. Maturing the organization always also means that we are getting bigger. The organization is getting bigger, the community is getting bigger, everything is getting bigger. And we don't see there's a danger, not to the open source, not to us, not to the community. We actually believe that bigger is better for everyone. And that's kind of the focus I'll have on this talk today. We truly believe that, and I'll tell you how we try to implement this so that bigger means better for everyone. So one of the things getting bigger has enabled us to do, we have stable releases. That means that you know when the next major is coming, you know when the next minor is coming, and you can start predicting your work around this, you can start preparing your upgrades around this to make this more convenient for you. We have solid operations. As I said, we're working on getting full coverage, but our goal is, by getting bigger, to cover you all time. You can sleep safe and sound knowing that you're in good hands with Umbraco, and getting bigger has also allowed us to focus more on stability for Umbraco Cloud. So last year we built a completely new platform built on Microsoft Azure App Service Plans and App Services, and since we've moved all our projects, we have had 0 accidents on Umbraco Cloud. So getting bigger means stable operations for everyone. Right. As I said, we're trying to move up the market. We are going to move up the market, and moving up in the market, moving into this DXP sphere that we see in the market. We believe Umbraco should have a place in the DXP sphere, and we have a way we think that we are going to do that. And that plan consists of two parts. First one is discovery. Your end clients and those that purchase from agencies that you work in, they need to be able to discover the integrations that we make for our DXP solutions. And how do you do that? Well, one thing we have done is we've built 10 open source integrations so that if your clients, your customers, or yourself, you think, we really like SEMrush, for example. Does this work with Umbraco? Then you Google SEMrush plus Umbraco, and then you find this open source integration that we have built, and then they see, oh, it actually does. These open source integrations that we build, they are nothing more but boilerplate, because we don't know what the integration for each of your client entails. We set up the boilerplate, you can use it, you can start using integrations with all these systems that we have integrated to, and it can also work as a inspiration for you to get started building integrations into other systems that your clients is asking for. The second, furthermore on the discovery part, we're introducing a new marketplace. This is going beta on Tuesday. We're adding we have built it in-house. We've added a whole group within the organization to focus on building this and building the discovery part, including the open source integrations. The second part of what we think we need to do in order to move into the DXP sphere is the actual integrations. So what is an integration? Well, it's a package in Umbraco, but it's where the value is added outside of Umbraco. So it's integrations into other systems. So when you do something in Umbraco, you want to do something in other systems as well. And to this, we also have 2 parts on how we want to work with integrations. First one is partnerships. We want to add a bunch of tech partners. We have our tech partner manager, Jonas, here. If you have any suggestions on where we should start or anything you think we should tech partner with, let us know. It's a weird thing, this tech partnership, because we build an open integration into Shopify. And we would like to be tech partners with Shopify, but we reached out to them and said, hey, do you want to be tech partners with Umbraco? And they're like, who? So that's why we build our own integrations. But we also know that there are people that benefit of Umbraco and benefit of building integrations for Umbraco, and we would love to hear from them. We would love to build these tech partnerships with you in order to give you our badge of approval, but also help you get more work with Umbraco and your integration. The second part of integrations is acquisitions. This is something new that we're looking into, have been looking into. This year, we actually did our first acquisition, a small acquisition. Some would call it a mini acquisition, but we did it, and it was a very good process for everyone involved. We bought the package called Plumber. You may have heard of it. Why we bought it was because the opportunity arose, but at the same time, we've had a feature request for what Plumber did for many years from many people. This is one of the ways that we can say, if we had to build this in-house, as you heard Bjarke said before, we have a lot of things we want to build, need resources. Here, we bought it to close this feature gap, and we'll be rebranding it as Umbraco Workflow. Not only did we buy Plumber, we also bought the person who built it. So instead of, that sounded wrong, I can hear that. We hired the person who built it. So instead of having this package here that's been developed in his spare time when he had time, he now works with us and with the DXP team, with Andy and with Ronald, to make this product better for you. We consider workflow as a need or a feature that you would need for big sites with many content editors. And that's why we're adding it to our product backlog as a paid add-on, as we do with Forms and Deploy on-prem. Acquisitions could sound a bit negative, but we don't mean it negatively. We bought Plumber because it was a good fit all the way around. We're not here to exterminate competition. Actually, we encourage the competition. We like it. We like it so much that if you were at Code Garden, one of our competitors bought a big-ass banner, put it on a big-ass house, very conveniently on our way to Code Garden, so everyone who walked from the city to Code Garden saw it. We thought that was hilarious, and that's why I'm also here smiling and telling about it today. That is a direct competitor. There's no discussion about that. Still, we encouraged and we think it was funny. Every Slack channel we had bimmed up, hey, have you seen this? And it was like, yes, and there was like smileys all over, and we high-fived each other because it was fun. And we really mean that. We mean that this competition makes everyone better. And maybe you don't need a big package. Maybe you don't need a paid add-on. Maybe you need a smaller package that someone has done. Maybe you need a package that is backed by a company like Umbraco that provide the support that we can give. Maybe you don't. That's fair. Use what you need, and please build some products that compete with us. We love it. And we love it actually so much that we'll help you with the discovery part. So on the new marketplace, all the packages that you build as package developers has an easy way to find their way in there. We sync from NuGet, and then we put it in the marketplace. And if you tag it with Umbraco Marketplace, your package will automatically appear in our new marketplace. Right. That was the DXP. Let's talk a bit about the CMS. You covered a lot of it with the AMA with Bjarke, so that's nice for me. Also good for you, because then we can speed this up and then get to the after party. But we released a newest major in June. Yes, Umbraco 10. That was the newest major that has long-term support. We updated Target Framework to .NET 6, which follows Microsoft's strategy for long-term support as well. We updated Image Sharp and Examine as well, and in Pogo and ASP.NET Core. We've added cross-platform support, with the missing piece was SQLite, so now you can run it on Linux, you can run it on Macs. We added runtime mode to heavily increase the performance as well. And we added permission for language variants in 10.2. So now you can set if a content editor only has to edit one language, you can set permission so that they only have access to edit that one language. They can still see the others, so they don't think that things are missing. We built the UI library, which is web components that we use to build the new back office as well. We've also built the Umbraco Cloud Portal using our own UI library. We started with this in January, found a lot of bugs, got the bugs fixed as well. So we actually ate our own pills here, and I wouldn't say we got punished, but we learned a good great deal of things here. This was also released with Umbraco in version 10 and 10.3. Version 10.3 was the last planned minor for Umbraco 10, but I'll get into a little bit more that it is not. Because we're going to release Umbraco 11 soon. It's going to release in December. It's based on .NET 7 and following Microsoft's strategy of long-term support. This is not long-term supported. It's built with C# 11. If you saw Mads Torgersen's talk on Code Garden, you'll see there's a lot of cool stuff coming, very heavily specific on the performance as well. We're going to introduce the block grid editor. This was supposed to go into 10.3, but we were not happy with the product as it was. And because we have this this steady release cadence, we're not going to postpone 10.3 for that. So we released 10.3 without, and then we decided to push this into 11. But as I said, 10.3 is not the last minor because we're going to port this back into 10 because it is one of the long-term support version. So we're going to release a 10.4 with the block grid editor in it. We've updated different, in Umbraco 11, we're going to update different dependencies as well. TinyMCE, updated from version 4 to version 6 because it was also end of life. It's a circle of life for everything. We go end of life, what we use go end of life, and we have to keep updated on that as well. We've updated to the latest version of Npogo. We've isolated image sharp, which Bjarke talked about, so I'm not going to delve too much into that. The roadmap, we've talked about a lot of the things on the roadmap as well from Umbraco 12 and 13. We're going to add the headless out of the box in Umbraco 12. We start with the content delivery. We're going to look into EF Core, as Bjarke promised. We're going to add webhooks as well in version 13. And in 13 as well, there's a new management API. So we did the content delivery API in 12. Now we add the management API in 13. And in 13, we're doing it because we're doing it with the new back office that we also talked a lot about. It's built on web standards, so you can bring anything you want, also Blazor, to extend it. As long as it's a web component, you can integrate into our service. You don't have to learn anything. We are aware that this causes some breaking changes. There's a big update with the new back office. There are ways to prepare for that if you're a package developer or you have extensions. And one of them is to already start using the new UI library. That would be a great start for you to get going because that will also work in Umbraco 13. Umbraco Forms. We have built I fail this word every time I have to say it. Editable, yes, entries. We have added improved permissions to it so that now you can control your forms on a user group level. Workflow enhancements, so we bought Workflow or Plumber recently. We've already added enhancements with audit trail, retry, and conditions. For deploy, I thought it was a question, sorry. For deploy, we have added single language deployments. We've added scheduled publishing. And I'm just going to mention the 10 open source integrations again because it's the same team that builds form, that builds deploy, that builds the marketplace, that also have built these integrations. I can't remember the name of the team, but they are our DXP experts, and they are going to build the DXP part of our business. So on the roadmap for DXP, we have forms, deploy, and workflow working for 11, of course. Since we're going headless with the core out of the box, it would make sense to also do it for forms. So we are building that. For workflow, we're building content refresh and notifications. And they're looking into something we call licensing as a service. So the license engine for our paid add-ons will get an update. And I can say that we're going to probably extend that eventually so the package developers can use our license service as well. So you don't have to worry about license for your packages. You can use ours if you want to, of course. Now for something that is close to my heart, or closer to my heart, Umbraco Cloud. And now I see all the heads going. All right. So I'm going to skip it. I'm going to do it fast. We've added dedicated resources to all our plans. The new platform of Umbraco Cloud is Epi Service Plans, but they're shared. Here you can move to your own dedicated resource if you need more computing power. We've added 2FA to Umbraco ID, so you can add 2FA in Umbraco Cloud. We're going to build so that if you have an organization in Umbraco Cloud, you can enforce it for all your users as well. We've added the US data center, which was a very interesting engineered piece of software that we built. It's very cool. I'm encouraging those that build it to start talking more about that, because we're actually highly skilled in Cloud team to build these kinds of things. And we're building a roadmap for Cloud, and we really want anyone who has inputs for Umbraco Cloud to reach out and help us build this roadmap. It's not there yet. We're trying. We've done some Cloud workshops across the UK for the last couple of weeks, had a lot of good input. We are not done. If you have anything for Umbraco Cloud, I'm here the rest of the day, but also feel free to reach out to me at kek@umbraco.dk. What we are going to build, or what is on the roadmap currently, packages in Cloud. So when you create a new project, you get to choose packages from our package developers, from our tech partners, and then install it directly in the project while you're creating it. CI/CD, we have this 3 environments set up in Cloud, and we've been trying for years to pull people into thinking that's a good idea. Now we've kind of decided or thought about it a lot and said, well, maybe we should stop trying to force our process into others. So with CI/CD, we're going to enable you to use your regular build pipelines, your regular release flows, and then deploy into Cloud instead. So we're turning around. Flexible environments, again, we have those 3 environments, but there's literally no reason why we shouldn't expand that so you can handle endless vertically. But we will also look into doing it horizontally so that you can have feature environments. So if you need to build a bigger feature, you can spin up a feature environment, and then you can build the feature there while keeping your regular workflow through your regular environments. Again, I really mean this. Tell us what you need. We're happy to listen, and we're happy to maybe build it. I cannot make promises, but we'll do what we can. Umbraco Heartcore. This is Morten. Morten Christensen is the head of a platform where Heartcore lives. He always giggles when he sees this slide because it's FFS. But these are the selling points for Heartcore: fast, flexible, and stable. We mean fast as a feature, so we're spending a lot of time of building caching and CDN into it, powered by Cloudflare. Flexible, it is a SaaS solution. Umbraco Heartcore is a headless SaaS solution. We're not going to change that, but we still want to make it as flexible as we can. And stable, of course, with our stable operations, we've added the CDN, we've added the caching so that the content is always ready to be delivered to you. In terms of making it flexible, we are adding custom grid editors, we're adding custom property editors, and we are building a new JSON scheme so that you can take these custom editors that you build, and then you can also customize the response that's supposed to send out for the request. And that is included in this new REST API v3 that we're building. And now I'm going to try and sum up why all of these things are good for everyone in this room, because this is what we mean with bigger is better for everyone. I believe, personally, that with this we're going to go full circle, because in the center we have Umbraco, open source CMS. Then we got bigger, then we built the cloud. Then we got bigger, then we built Heartcore. Then we got bigger, and then we took the API out of Heartcore and we're putting it into Umbraco CMS in version 12. This API is going to resemble what we have in Heartcore. It's going to resemble what we're going to build for forms. And when we build a public API for cloud, it's going to resemble that, so that what you see, all the APIs across Umbraco, look like the same, they'll give the same responses and have the same schemas. So, as you can see here, full circle, but it seems like there's something missing, right? Otherwise, I'm bad at centering things. And there is something missing. And what there's missing is what Philip mentioned at Code Garden several times. Umbraco is about technology and people. So the people are missing here. And the people that we have been lucky enough to work with, that because we're growing bigger, we can support in a better way, is you. And we have built some really, really awesome community teams. I am fairly certain that a lot of you is already part of these. And because we have grown bigger, we have been allowed to build these community teams steadily as we go. We didn't start with all of these. But as soon as we get bigger, we involve the community more, and that enables us to build more teams. I'm going to build a community team for cloud as well over the spring. I have a KPI with Philip saying that I need to be able to present it at CodeGuard next year. So I'm a bit busy, but that's good because we love these teams. We've actually gone so far that this team has access to some of the closed code for our marketplace. And that required lawyers and contracts and everything to be signed. So we are that big that we have lawyers now. Who would have thought? Right? So this is the people. And we recently released a new documentation platform, Gitbook. And I know that the community team was part of the driving factor to do this. Lastly, just to encourage those that are not in part of these community teams to be, we are very proud of being able to invite you over as well. This is our new HQ, and if we hadn't gotten bigger, we would still live in the old HQ, and there would be no place in that HQ to take a picture of that many people collected at once. So that's very good. So going back to the full circle, we have the product here, we have the cloud hardcore and APIs that goes into the CMS. What are we missing? The people and the community. We're missing the teams, and with building the community, building more teams, we get more and better contributions, and that goes into the product as well. And how conveniently aligned with the eternity sign, right? That's not coincidence, because that is what we mean when we say bigger is better for everyone. It is this. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you 3 times. If you want to clap, please wait until the 3rd time. It's so awkward when I say thank you, and then the next one is thank you, and then, yeah. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for being awesome. And lastly, thank you for being Umbraco.